It's a trap. It's a trap. Title number 4, May 23 TOK essay. Title number 4 is a trap, but I've identified the trap. I figured it out. I'm going to help you break down this prompt. This is a tricky one, but it's also a really good one. So let's get an A in TOK.
Get an A in TOK.
If you see my breakdown video of all of the titles, you kind of saw me make this mistake in the middle of this because I completely misunderstood what this prompt is going for. And there's a couple of tricks grammatically about this prompt, but then there's also a couple of things that help us know kind of what they're going for. I found the whole quote as well. Let me help you out with this, but let's go ahead and take a look at the prompt. So do you agree that it is astonishing that so little knowledge can give us so much power? That's from Bertrand Russell. Discuss with reference to the natural sciences and one other area of knowledge. So here's what we have to do. We have to check the grammar. We have to make sure that we understand exactly what this prompt is asking. And what the prompt is asking is this. It is not asking us whether or not little knowledge can give us so much power. And what it's also not doing is asking us to explore the concept of little knowledge leading to so much power, because that's what a lot of us will do. Grammatically speaking, what it's asking is, do we agree that it is astonishing that so little knowledge can give us so much power? So we have to check the grammar. So what I would do is make everything about the word astonishing, because that's what the prompt is asking. But at the same time, I don't think that they only want us to write about the word astonishing. So I think that what you need to then do is this. Acknowledge that this title is assuming that so little knowledge can give us so much power is true. So they are asking us, do we agree or disagree with this statement? But also, the statement may or may not be true. So what you can do is focus on the word astonishing while you explore the rest of the prompt. So focus on astonishing while you then break down so little knowledge leading to so much power. Now, when I read this and I was thinking about little knowledge leading to so much power, I immediately thought of two things. First of all, it was a bad thing. And then secondly, of course, it was Donald Trump. So let me give you two pieces of warnings here that are really going to help you out. So two warnings, and this is really going to tell you where this is supposed to go, because the prompt in saying this is not a bad thing. It's actually supposed to be an astonishing thing. And astonishing things are usually good. So check this out. First of all, if you look at the prompt, this is about the natural sciences, and the quote is stated in the positive. Take a look at what the prompt actually says. We know very little, and yet it is astonishing that we know so much. And still more astonishing that we know that so little knowledge can give us so much power. So as this prompt is about the natural sciences, we would all agree that this is a good thing. And so you need to have many perspectives, and you need to have a minimum of 4 about having a lot of power with knowledge. And you need to explore whether or not that is astonishing, and also whether or not it is positive or not. But don't go all negative, because I think in the era of misinformation and stuff, we're thinking about stupid people having a lot of power. And that is just looking at the prompt very narrowly. And what he's saying as we get into the natural sciences is that this is a great thing. Before we get into the evidence, what we really want to think about is really when it comes to the natural sciences, it is astonishing. But the problem and the challenge is going to be arguing, finding a different perspective that it's not challenging, okay? So the first thing is make sure that you think about astonishing and the prompt. The second thing is understand that in the natural sciences and in most situations, most applications, this is a very good thing, okay? So then the second thing that I'm going to talk about is that you need to research another country's politicians and political system before using them as an example. So a lot of students internationally love just bashing Trump. And hey, I'm right there with you, okay? If you don't agree with me there, that's totally fine. This is TOK. But I have read more. There are much more TOK essays that bash Trump for terrible reasons or nonsensical reasons that just come off as a rant than that actually analyze who he is, what he did, and maybe why and how he did it, okay? So this isn't just Donald Trump. This is true about any politician. in another country. If you're going to write about them in one of the most important essays that you will do in the IB, you need to understand them more than maybe a few of the headlines that pissed you off, okay? So just do some research. That was the trap. That's how we can break down the prompt and make sure we're not just writing a good essay, but that we're writing a good essay about what the IB is actually asking us to write about. Because if you've seen in my How to Fail TOK video, it's really hard to fail TOK. Instead, if you just write on the topic, and even if you don't write that much great stuff, you're going to be okay. But one of the guaranteed ways to fail TOK is to not answer what is asked. So as long as you just break down this prompt and work hard, you're going to pass TOK. You're going to get your diploma. You're going to get into whatever uni you want to. Well, that's probably not true, but you will pass as long as you write on topic. Okay, so let's now move into the evidence. That's really why you're here. And I want to let you know that the evidence here, a lot of it I took from TOK MASTERCLASS, which is the world's first on-demand, online self-paced TOK class. I'm your teacher. Over 30 lessons. You get a workbook. You get access to my TOK evidence database, which is really cool. It's growing every day. I just added something today. If you want that, you can get a 10% discount by using coupon code YouTube. I always forget, YouTube subscriber, singular, not plural, YouTube subscriber. You'll get 10% off. And yeah, there's a free lesson there. You can watch a little bit of a tour, but check that out at tokmasterclass.com. Also, if you want some help, you can get a hold of me on Fiverr. There's a link down there at the bottom. Finally, free stuff. TOK, get an A and TOK.com/free stuff will help you out with an organizer you can use for this essay. All right, let's take a look at the evidence. So first of all, we have to talk about the natural sciences. And the natural sciences, little knowledge leading to great power, is almost always a great thing. With regards to the specific pieces of evidence, there's so many that I don't think I really need to give you a piece of evidence. If I just get you going in a direction, you're going to be able to come up with a lot of things yourself. So think about things that humanity has done in the sciences with relatively little knowledge. So what I would do here is think about great things, powerful things that we did in the past with relatively little knowledge. I think about the moon landing. If you think about the computers that they had in this photo, my phone is more powerful. If you can think about James Lind. He helped conquer scurvy. I've listened to a podcast right now all about scurvy. It is ridiculous how he discovered knowledge and knew very little about what he was doing. He did clinical trials, but at the end of the day, after he found the cure for scurvy, his recommendation was to do something with the cure that made it worthless. It's just wild, but still, he created knowledge. You can also talk about Edward Jenner creating the smallpox vaccine, the Wright brothers, all of these. Also, don't Google scurvy. I did that. Just a terrible idea. I don't know why I did that at all, okay? But just think about things that have been done in the natural sciences, and when we're looking back, we're just like, how did they do that? Like, what was he thinking? Well, no, more like, what is this guy thinking? Getting on the plane. They didn't know what we know now. They had very little knowledge, but at the same time, they were able to do very powerful things. And then after you break down those natural science things, talking about so little knowledge leading to so much power, what you then need to focus on, remember, is the trap word, is the word astonishing. Is it astonishing? Now, was it astonishing back then? Not the thing that they did, but the fact that little knowledge led to so much power. The easiest thing I would do is put a couple of sentences there at the end of each body paragraph addressing whether you agree that it is astonishing in that piece of evidence. Now remember, you need to talk about counterclaims, as some teachers call them, or counter perspectives, as I call them. So if you're going to say, it was astonishing that this was done in the natural sciences with so little knowledge, you then need to come up with a perspective that says, it was not astonishing, or they did have lots of knowledge, but did not have power. So think about scientists who had a lot of knowledge, but did not have that much power. Galileo had a lot of knowledge, not a lot of power. He was shut down by the Catholic Church. Dr. Anthony Fauci found him on the wrong side of a culture war, despite having so much knowledge in America regarding infectious diseases. The politics of medicine and so many different things. And I don't want to offend people here, but he had lots of knowledge, but very little power. So much knowledge led to so little power because of things that were outside of both of these guys' circumstances. So when has knowledge not led to power? As you can see, there are different ways to explore this prompt. So what I would suggest is be creative, not just in the evidence that you choose and not just in your analysis, but in how you take different perspectives on how you agree with and how you disagree with this prompt. So remember, as you need to come up with different perspectives, you want to say, in some ways, I do disagree with this prompt. And really, I think the best idea is to find a way to say, no, it was not astonishing. Because anybody can come up with examples and say, yes, look, little knowledge led to so much power. Look, little knowledge did not lead to so much power. That's what most people are going to do. And honestly, that's not what the prompt is asking. You need to focus on the word astonishing and find times when it was astonishing and find times when it wasn't astonishing. So looking back at these examples, should we be astonished now? Were they astonished then? And should we be astonished about those things? Now, if you want to, one of your AOKs could be the human sciences. And in the human sciences, you can get a lot bigger. But remember, as you explore the evidence, you need to be focusing on astonishing just as much as you do the idea of little knowledge leading to so much power, as that's what it's worded. So one of the things that you can talk about here is economics. So you can talk about economists having lots of knowledge and lots of power. And that's easy. I think that's the easiest way to disagree with this. So you can say, no, I'm not astonished. I disagree because look at economists. They have lots of knowledge and lots of power. But at the same time, they get things wrong a whole lot. One of the things that you can talk about is the 2008 financial crisis. Literally everyone in the world got things wrong. But just do a little bit of research. When have economists, who we would say have so much knowledge, when have they not had power? When were they wrong? When were we astonished about either one of those things? Think about some brilliant economists. Think about what they got right and what they got wrong. And that's a way that you can disagree with the point about being astonished. Now, on that same route, I don't even know if this applies, but this just popped in my head as I was making this lesson. How do we know that economists have a lot of knowledge? Does it come out to we all agree that this person's smart? Do we actually have to follow these policies? Where does correctness come into play when it comes to economics? We have a lot of theories, but a lot of economic theories may not have been proven, or and more importantly, they were proven true in a time and context, but maybe may not have been true in other contexts. So think about that. How do we know whether or not to give power to an economist? You can talk about politicians and how they are generally unspecialized and have relatively little knowledge, but because of how politics work, specifically in democracies, they have so much power. So you can go into Donald Trump there, but just know that many people will. And by the way, I'm not trying to defend Donald Trump. I'm just trying to help you stand out here. So try to take a unique approach with this. Remember that most politicians have relatively low levels of specialized knowledge, but then surround themselves with a lot of smarter people. Trump just surrounded himself with dumber people, which made it for a globally recognized train wreck. So way to go, America. But you can definitely find examples in that what we would say is the discipline in the human sciences of political science. So political science is a discipline here. And you can talk about this. So should we be astonished when a not knowledgeable politician gets so much power? Don't talk about the aftermath because that probably won't really help you out. Instead, talk about what happened and whether or not we should consider it to be astonishing. At first, I was thinking I'm only going to suggest you go for both the sciences here, but I have some ideas from math. And so I'd be talking about first how some of the easiest things we do can lead to amazing things. So think about the math processes that require little knowledge. Those can lead us to some very amazing things. So think about the first things that you learned in math. What are we able to do with just addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, and maybe a little bit of algebra, which we would all say requires very little knowledge. But what can we do that is powerful with that? How can simple math lead to great things? I got this example from TOK MASTERCLASS, so check that out, tokmasterclass.com. Eugene Wigner, in an essay about maths, which just sounds awful, wrote that it is a miracle that math can explain and create amazingly accurate descriptions of the physical and natural worlds. So he found 3 miracles about math, and all of these totally apply. So this is like a sample of what I do in TOK Masterclass. So miracle number 1 is that mathematics explains the structure of the universe. So this isn't there yet. He's kind of setting up 3 things that when they interact, it makes a lot of sense. So mathematics explains everything. Okay, that's the first part. The second part is that there is a deep structure to the universe that can be explained and explored through math. So math explains everything. There is a deep structure that is explained by math. But here's where it gets interesting. Human beings are able to do math. So this is the most amazing part, that there is something huge, way bigger than us that we can't understand. But then with math, the things that we can do as simple, messed up, fallible human beings, limited beings, the tiny things that we can understand are powerful enough to explain these huge things. So this is so astonishing. He calls this a miracle. Look at this quote. He says, the enormous usefulness of mathematics in the natural sciences is something bordering on mysterious, and there is no rational explanation for it. It is difficult to avoid the impression that a miracle confronts us here. So I feel like he's leaning kind of into a spirituality there, or a some sort of religious claim there. But I think that's actually the point, that we don't need a lot of omniscient knowledge to be able to explain the universe. So this is an example of, in the relative scheme of things, we don't actually know that much, but that little that we do know works huge things in maths. So again, another thing that we can talk about is you can talk about the past when people did great things with little knowledge. So one of the things that you can talk about here is Islamic mathematicians a long time ago, and talk about the symmetry. This is Alhambra, I'm not really sure, but there are things, and it's just wild, and I don't totally get it. So if you're a mathematician and you can explain this, do it. But the symmetry explored in Alhambra was basically nobody in the West discovered it for hundreds and hundreds of years, and the white guys who discovered what they already knew in Alhambra and the artworks there that were really dealing with math. The white people just thought that they discovered this great thing, and like, oh no, we've known this for hundreds and hundreds of years. So it's this really interesting thing that I would explore more, but I would just say, warning, it is really confusing because it's dealing with how symmetry works, and they claim that there's only 17 different kinds of ways of symmetry. I don't get it, but that's what they proved in Alhambra, and then proved again in the West hundreds of years later. Now, would I go for arts or history? I would not. I would stay with one of these three AOKs that I've already talked about. But my one idea that I had for arts is how in today's world, not really in the past, but in today's world, there are artists who have little knowledge of art, but they use social media and the internet to become powerful. So this is Rebecca Black right here. She paid a company to create a song and music video for her, which is the song Friday. You know, that song's my jam. But she has little knowledge of it, but it turned into a lot of power for her. She's now a D-list celebrity, but she turned little knowledge of singing into relative power for just a high school girl. So would I take this and put this in a TOK essay? Probably not, but I don't think there's that much to talk about when we're talking about the arts and little knowledge going into so much power. If we're talking about little skill or little vision or little creativity, yeah, sure. But when it comes to the knowledge of an artist, first of all, I don't know how we're going to gauge that. And then secondly, I just don't know if any of those examples are going to be as good as what we're going to be able to come with in the natural sciences, the human sciences, and maths. If you need even more help in this, you can get a hold of me at bit.ly/TOK tutoring. I can help you. I can Zoom with you. I will not give you answers, but I will help you with feedback and a predicted grade and a rubric, and I will help you out so much, asking you some pretty critical questions, but we'll have a good time. Get a hold of me at getanandtok.com/free stuff. You'll get an outline for this. I'm going to publish a couple of videos pretty soon where I teach you how to organize this essay. So check those out. If you're looking at this in October, that video is already out. I'll put a link down in the bottom. And that's it. TOKmasterclass.com. You've already heard it. Have a great day. I hope that TOK sucks a little bit less than when you started this video. I'll see you next time.